So welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm so happy that you guys are able to tune in tonight. So I wanted to do this class, Eliminate Your Mess, mainly because every year going into the new year, I am always panicking and trying to figure out how I am navigating to go into, an upcoming year to accomplish my goals and to do the things that I just know I'm capable of. So this class is for us to kind of talk through strategy and planning for your new year, and for me to give you some of the tools and some of the things that I've used and done to be able to have like a successful year and to also optimize, the success of my year. So I'll introduce myself briefly and share my screen as well. So my name is Kalila Wright, and I am the owner of an apparel brand called Mess in a Bottle. So I put messages on t-shirts and they come packaged in a reusable bottle. And in the last couple of years, I've been doing some transitioning, just like trying to figure out where I want my career to go, what things I want to happen, and, just figure out how can I be the best me in that year. So not sure if you guys, if you can, I know some people might be at work, so please feel free to either come off mute if you want to share like where you're from and like where you are in sort of life and business, because this class itself, I've done it in the past where it was mainly about business, but what I know true is that life be lifing and life impacts your business. So please share if you're a business owner or not, if you're a full-time entrepreneur or if you work full-time. Also, if you possibly have children or kids.
All right, I'll go. Good evening. My name is Sharima. I own a retail store called the Uma Shop. I've owned it for going on 5 years now. I also work full time while running a full time business, and I'm at a crossroads of if that's even worth doing. And I also have two kids. So juggling it all, trying to make the next year better than the chaos that was last year. And I'm actually currently on like a family vacation, so I'm like here and participating, but in the
I feel
midst of
you.
that too.
That's no problem. All right. Thank you for, jumping on and jumping in.
Of course.
Yeah. All right. Go ahead, Tiffany.
Hey y'all, my name is Tiffany. I own a hot sauce as well as seasoning business. I haven't been scaling it the way I wanted to. So that's my plans for 2026. I'm also a notary, so I'm planning on running both full time next year. I'm hopefully eliminating the whole 9 to 5 situation. I don't have any kids. I do call myself the fine rich auntie. And so clock it.
Yes.
My plan is to pretty much just, eliminate the 9 to 5 things and run both of my businesses simultaneously.
Well, good. I am so happy you guys are my people. I feel like that's good that I'm attracting still business owners and people who are, like running and doing multiple things. And they're not just, people who are just streamlined, corporate or doing certain things. So I feel like I am talking to my people. So thank you guys for, logging on and being on. Oh, I can't wait. I want to hear a little bit more about your hot sauce as well. I'm gonna look it up. So let me share my screen because now y'all got me mad excited. I'm like, I want to share everything that is not on my screen, but I'll go ahead and share this first and then probably go off script a little bit just so that I could really share some more. So again, welcome to the T class. I started this company in 2016, shortly after the Freddie Gray uprising in Baltimore. And it's been 10 years of mess, but in a good way. The ups, the downs, the ins, the outs, the I'm quitting, okay, maybe not, that's kind of like that is entrepreneurship. That is, the ebbs and flows of life. And this is what I kind of keep reminding as we're goal setting and as we're planning things out right now. Do note like this is the ups and downs. Like this is what life is about. So if you felt like 2025 wasn't a great year, it happens. Like you're going to have bad weeks, you're going to have bad days, you're going to have bad months. But I think where you can show if you are, better is how you recover. It's how you recover, how long you stay down, and it's how long kind of allow a gap to be in place before you restart. You'll hear me talking a lot probably about the gym or working out, mainly because those are sort of accountability spaces in which people already connect with, like you can understand like, hey, if you are gaining weight, you want to get back in the gym, but you keep on hesitating, like that is sort of where we are with life and entrepreneurship. It's like you're on a path, something throws you off, and then you struggle to get back on. But then once you back on, you back on. And so that's like the beauty of like sort of this whole accountability planning strategy. It's like, definitely take it as tomorrow is a new day. I'm going to restart. I'm going to, get back on the horse. So, just again, briefly, a little bit about me. I have a large social media following. I've built the brand from the ground up. So just want, if you aren't familiar with me or my work, just know that I am not new to this. I'm definitely true to this, whether it's business as well as the accountability part as well. So where do you see the most breakdown with accomplishing your goals? Not sure if either of you, and again, Sharima, I'm sorry, feel free to share in the chat if you need to, but feel free to come off mute. Where do you think either one of you are seeing the most breakdowns that's happening? Is it in the beginning when it's the planning, the account, or is it the middle, holding yourself accountable, or is it like the measure, really kind of making sure that you are doing the thing and scoring yourself?
For me, it'll be consistency and kind of like when life gets in the way, you get into that rut and you kind of stay there for too long.
Hmm.
That's a breakdown for me.
Yep. Really good that you said that because I think that that's one of the common, places that a lot of people, and then you kind of beat yourself up. I had someone that was on earlier, and that's what we were talking about. It's like, you start to see a breakdown, you beat yourself up, and then it takes you so long to recover because now you've done wasted time, like feeling sorry for yourself instead of jumping back in there and, and just keep going. So, as I said before, I'm not new to this. I'm definitely true to this. So, I started in 2019, sort of like this strategy planning, goal setting, type of thing. And I do this for my overall life. It's not just for my business. And so, if any of you are interested, the 12-week year is one of my favorite books. I try to read this every year. And you know what? I might even start, maybe I'll do that. I saw somebody do that before, go on TikTok and then they read. So I might do something like that. But I am finishing this book, even though I love it so much. I've read it, taken notes. So every year I read the 12-week year. I probably will do some type of group that's going to start in January and we're going to read the book. So, I have it on Audible as well as I have it on Audible and I also have it the paper version. So the 12-week year is really a guide that helps you to structure your goals. And so, what the premise of the book is stating is that instead of looking like at the end of the year, that's when everybody is like running to the, like sort of running through the finish line, or they're trying to, December marks such a, or even Q4, it marks such a important time in business for a lot of people because that's when everybody's like ramping it up. They're like, I gotta meet my numbers, I gotta hit my goals, I got, like that's when it is. So what the book is saying is to use 12 weeks, and your 12 weeks is so you treat each week like a month. So, and you master things in like a shorter period of time. So what I want to say with the 12-week year is you want to be realistic with your goals. So as I said before, like I've been doing it since 2019. So I think in 2020, 2021 is when I bought my first home. One of the things that you have to say to yourself in the beginning, well, before we even do that, we're here. So what are your life goals, and create a vision? If you don't have a vision, you're not going to know where you're going. And I do want to acknowledge that your vision is going to change possibly like, year to year as life goes, as things happen, as, life develops, as you can meet a partner and then your whole life and, what you said you wanted or how you said you wanted to do it now is like totally different. So you should definitely, maybe yearly revisit your overall life goals. So I have made my life goals saying to myself, like, all right, what do I want from my life? And at the time that I wrote this list, I did not have my baby girl, and now I do. So, I wanted to raise a successful Black boy, and I said I wanted to have more kids. I wanted a full-time chef. So I just wrote down things that I wanted from life, and those were my goals. Wrote down I want to live past 85. So when I say things like that, and when I'm creating my overall life goal to be that, that means that each 12 weeks, I'm going to put in there some type of wellness thing that helps me to get to my overall life goal. Like everything is still connected to these overall life goals that I want. All right. And so so the first thing that I do with creating my 12-week year goal is, the book says not to think about it in quarters, but honestly, that's like easier in my brain is to think about it from a quarter. So my 12 weeks is from January to the end of March, right? And so another thing that I do is I write out and I Google what week of the year it is. So clearly this week we're in week 52 of 2025. So, like next week, we'll be in week 1 of 2026. So, this helps me. And that's another thing. I saw something real key today on social media. Oh, this was it. I'm like, I'll ad lib this whole time because I always drop in things that I see or hear, and that reminds me of something. So I recently saw on social media that this guy said that his parents were like 85 or so. And, and I think then he asked, how long do you think your parents will live for? And he said, maybe another 5 years or so, 90 something. So he said, how many times a year do you see them? And he said, twice. And so he said, so you literally only have 10 more times to see your parents. And when you put it into perspective like that, like I have 10 more times opposed to I have 5 more years, it forces your brain to start to do other things because time is limited. Oh, let me see if yep, it is real. Yep. And so that's sort of how you have to think about the numbers in your business. So the same thing, or in your life, I'm sorry. So that's the same way as your weeks, right? What happens all the time is when January hits, we all think we have 12 months. And 12 months is 52 weeks. So you get real excited, like, I got 365 days. Like, I'm a, but how many times, like, y'all, we are at day like 300 and what? I don't know the math. Maybe we're at day 361 right now or two. And when I tell you those 360 something days go so fast, it is so crazy. But it's because we're not looking at it like that. So if we say to ourselves, we have 12 weeks, I mean, yeah, we have 12 weeks, but we literally have 52 weeks of the year to accomplish what we want. I kid you not, we're going to start looking at this thing differently, strategizing differently. Another thing that is happening is a lot of us are saying to ourselves, like, Q1, we have a goal. Q2, we don't hit Q1, we don't hit, we establish a goal, we don't hit the goal. Q2, we don't establish the goal. We don't hit we establish the goal, but we don't hit the goal. Q3, we still squeezing at the orange. And I'm like, I'm gonna hit the goal. I'm gonna hit the goal. You still don't hit the goal. But then Q4, you're like, oh, I'm gonna hit the goal. Your reflection of where you are is going to impact how you do the next day, the next day, the next day. You can change it, but it is going to be, you have to change also your habits, the things that you are doing, how you are approaching things. Things are not going to change if you don't change. I'm always preaching and saying, like, you have to kind of almost do things so differently to get like new results. I am a creature of habit. I will drive the same way. I will, you know, do the same meals. I'm such a creature of habit. You cannot change the outcome if you do not rip the band-aid off, rip the rug from under you, and do something different. A lot of the times we are stuck in that same space and we are not changing, and then we're mad because the results haven't changed. But it is because you are doing the same things different. And I'm not just saying, oh, switch up the meal or switch up the time that you do from this to that. You have to be so intentional about change. And that's probably one of the hardest things that I've realized in this process. So now let's talk about you how you are going to write down like your weeks and your goals, right? So first, and hopefully you guys can take a little bit of notes. So first, you're gonna write down your life goals, your overall, and it doesn't have to be a long list. It could be just a couple. It could be a 3 to 5 year goal. You know, like what would you want to see from your life? What would you want to see the outcome to be? What things would you want to change? What things would you want to get better? If you had, and this is not like a money, you could put a financial goal, but this is more like if you had the freedom to just like do whatever you wanted to do, what would your life look like in the next couple of years? So do you both that are on the call right now, do you want to take a moment and pause? Like, it doesn't have to be anything crazy. You could write down maybe 3 goals. We don't have to take long, but do you rather do that now, or you just want me to go through? Because, I want to go off of what you guys, are feeling. Or do you want to go back to this and do it later? Let me see.
So I had already started taking notes
Okay.
as you were
Okay.
talking, and I saw your 19 bullets on your list.
Okay.
And it kind of made me think of my own because I actually started this, what was it, like last week?
Mm-hmm.
So are we stating like maybe the top 3 things that we're
Yeah,
focusing
yeah.
on?
You could state like the top three, like life goals, like what do you want? Like, or in the next immediate, like, so like let's just we could take like 30 seconds. I mean, not 30 seconds, like maybe 1 minute, and you could write
Mhm.
down like your top three. Like what would you want? 3 to 5, maybe.
Definitely to be debt free.
Mm-hmm.
Um, 2 to have residual income.
Mm-hmm.
And 3 to be overall healthy because right now I'm at 200 pounds and I'm at my heaviest. So I'm
Okay.
gonna get back down to 170.
Me too. Look, Tiffany,
Yes,
I'm gonna need you to join we'll talk about it later, the accountability group, because then we could keep each other. I need some accountability. And
definitely.
I'm trying to get to the 170 mark too. So we gotta, it'd be nice
Mhm.
to do it with each other.
Yeah, definitely. So what I did was I did like a full physical to see if there's any like hormonal balance, because after
Mhm.
40, then it's
Yeah.
I'm totally different. So my next step is to find like a holistic doctors. I know in my country we do a washout.
Yep.
I'm gonna do
Where
a
you
20
from?
Antigua.
Okay. Okay. Yep.
Yeah. So this is girl, I think her name is High Frequency T.
I know exactly
Last
who
time,
my friends do it and they use her as well.
yeah, so the last time I did the 21-day cleanse twice, I actually dropped weight following
Okay.
that. So I'm giving up meat and alcohol for 2026. That's another
Okay.
thing.
Okay, good. Well, you are definitely making some drastic changes, which are good. And what's the fifth one? I think you just said four.
Residual income.
Okay. Okay, cool. Very good. All right. Well, I like all of those. They are good, meaty ones that I feel like you can follow like whatever you do for each 12 week can like lead back to those goals. So really like those. I think that they're really good. So once you have your overall goals, right? Then and your vision of what you want your life to look like, the next step is to go ahead and write down for like Q1 2026 what those goals are for your 12 weeks. And so again, it's being really realistic. Can you guys hold on 1 second? Hey, yeah, sure, same. I'm in a class, T class. Yeah, I guess if it's no meat. Oh, that's fine too. Same tofu, bye. All right. Sorry about that, guys. I'm happy I answered because I did need some dinner. So okay, so once we now have our outline for our overall vision for life, right? Now the next step is for us to outline our Q1, so our 12 weeks, right? So hear me out. When I think about what my goals are for Q1, they're going to be much different, of course, than they are for Q2, Q3, and Q4, right? Q1 is going to be based around more of me jump starting something, my strategy, like really implementing certain things, unless you're really following up from like the year before and you're sort of like just continuing things. But like Q1, I would just say for anyone that's writing down their goals to sort of like make it where you are acclimating yourself to the thing because you might fall back off, so don't be too crazy with your goals when you're thinking about like your Q1 goals, right? So for the 12 weeks, what I start out in my phone, I usually would write 12-week goals, Q1 2026, right? And then in that, I'll write week 1, week 2, week 3, all the way to week 12. In each note, and I do this with my notes, but you could, and I'm going to show you some other places in which you could do something similar. But then for me, because I have a family, I have a business, I have my health and wellness, financial objectives, and I added something since I've been doing this is also my family unit. So those are my top 5 areas in which I focus on: family unit, health and wellness, career and business, financial objectives, and also personal development. My personal development is always to keep my space clean and to also always like I'm always trying to keep on top of my like 12 my strategy and all that. So that's always like, and your personal development can be, of course, like if you have a personal goal, if you want to learn how to cook, if you want to learn how to do something fun. I just right now in my life, I can't think about those things yet. Like I want to write a book. Like there's so many things that I want to do, but I'm also being very honest with myself with my capacity. So that's something that as you are planning your goals that I want you guys to think through is your capacity of what you really have the availability to really be able to do, because you may not be able to stretch yourself where these 5 areas is what you attack. You might only be able to attack one of the things. All right. So Sharima says a few of my overall goals are living debt free, setting up my sons with homes when they become adults so they don't have to start from scratch, beat my asthma and not be reliant on my meds, build my nonprofit to live well off of doing meaningful work. I love all of those. So, like, for example, Sharima, with your sons, because you're thinking about buying homes, I think you're in Philly, right? I think you are. So like, it's almost saying to yourself, like, I know Philly very similar to Baltimore. You could probably get homes, yep, in Philly. Yep, you could get homes in those cities for like, like this is starter homes, but it can be something that like, so I've done something similar trying to anyway, where I'm like, I want to buy a property for each of my kids and have it under their names. So like, whether even if it's a 150K home, a 200K home, something low. So it's like, okay, what do I need to do to even be able to do those things? Um, so as we are now creating, oh, back to capacity, I need each person that's doing this to think about their capacity. Be honest. The first thing is the honesty with self. And I hate to say that sometimes we have to pick, in regard to like which one will end up doing, whether it is like your personal development or your health and wellness or your career and business. I will always say make sure your health and wellness is embedded and it's in there somewhere, because I wholeheartedly believe that if you don't have great health, you cannot be wealthy. It's too damn stressful to be not of good health. So I'm always excited with the 12-week year to challenge myself. I've been able to run marathons because I've challenged myself and I said like, yep, I would look into herbs. Yep. So I've challenged myself over the years, to definitely run marathons and do things that I feel like is impossible, because it keeps my mind and my body going, and it keeps me like sort of in a place in which I could, get moving and grooving. So the areas that I focus on: personal development, career and business, health and wellness, financial objectives, and I'm missing one, and family unit. All right. So those five. Yep. So when you go to outline and write down your week goals, okay? So first we're going to create our overall goals for our life. Then the next step is going to be to really understand, what do you want from your 2026? What do you want from the year? So in 2025, let me see if I see my goals real quick, if I could find them, and without it getting too personal. Let me see. Overall. Okay. Uh, and so what I do is I'll do my overall goal, and then for each quarter, I've also done a goal. So each 12 weeks, I do a goal too. So hold on. And I put them in folders. I get a little anal with this only because it helps me. So you guys can see here, like you see, so I have my overall goals, but then I started putting them for each year that I'm doing this as well. So my 2025, and this is also what I did, was like I'll put it for each thing, is like I'll write out a goal for like each of them as well. So for my personal development, I wanted to balance early plan, and it's my first time reading it over in a very long time. Since I made it in January 12th of 2025. My personal development: balance early planning and organization to incorporate I was at the time going into a new job, my business, and my family. Track weekly setting, project manage all areas of my life, get organized and stay there, create structure in my life for my family and for myself, use leisure time to start writing a book. I ain't do the book part. Then with my family, so then I broke down my family unit: get family and spaces more organized so it helps with management, create a set schedule for my kids during their idle time, use a financial plan to outline direction for kids and family for the year, spend quality time with my family. So Q1 of 2025, because my goal was to spend quality time with my family, what I did in Q1, and I'll be very transparent that I wasn't able to like fulfill it and do the same in Q2, 3, and 4, but it's because it was my goal for Q1. So my goal and what I did was I went on a date with each of the people in my family during Q1. So like I took my son on a date in like, I think in February. I took my daughter on like a yoga thing. I took my boyfriend to like a cooking class. So that was like my strategy. So I think it was like either one a week I took. So my goal was that each month I would take all of them, like I would accomplish figuring out and finding dates to take them all on an outing once a month. And again, I'm sharing some of this stuff with you guys because like I took the pressure off myself to say it would be nice. And it's so funny. I don't know how busy you guys' lives are or if you have partners, but like it's nice to say, oh, I'm going on a weekly date. I could never. Like it's just not enough. Like I wish that that was the case. But I'm like, you know what? One a month. And even if you want to go on a date with yourself, it's up to you to set the cadence, what really makes sense. Is this something that you can truly get done and accomplish? And a lot of the times, your schedule will tell you the real deal. All right, to date is on my list. Good. Nice. All right, so we're going to, and I keep on repeating these steps, so I'm hoping you guys get them. So, first, we're going to figure out our overall goal and our life goal. Then, we're going to figure out what our goal is for 2026. So I try to write out like for 2026, I am going to this. And I try to make it very like you see how my goals were really like overarching. They're not super specific because what happens is in your 12-week planning, that's when you get really specific with your tactics. Like, so if my overall goal for 2026 is to like prepare to buy a house, right? It may not be to buy a house, it may be to prepare. So it's like my 12-week year goals may include getting my credit together, pulling my credit report, saving, finding out what my down payment might be, figuring out how much I would have to save monthly. Like those are the things that I would do to try to like prepare myself in my 12 weeks to get things done. So what you want to do is again, write out your week one, write out your week two, so write your 12 weeks. I usually put them all in a nice little folder. And then in my folder, I have a template. It usually says like personal development, career and business, my health and wellness, financial, and then my family planning. All right. So once I do that, then I go in and put like for my 12 weeks, I want to do this for each category and for each thing. Now, something really important. So once you strategize and you figure out what your goals are, I'll say, okay, so buying a house is on my list for this year. Our lease ends in August, so I need to do all of my. So if your goal is to be home buyer ready, you got so much, it's so much to do. So, and you also, I was just about to say and go into like measure. So what measure is like so Sundays are my days. Sundays are my planning days. So I'm usually on Sundays meeting with my partner and we're usually trying to go over things. And because we think so differently, we're always bumping heads and going crazy when it comes to 12-week year planning. But during the 12 weeks, you have to, week over week, you have to measure yourself. I think that's also a big breakdown that happens because people don't measure their success or their failures. So, week one, and also measuring will also help to indicate if if there's things that you are sort of lacking to get the thing completed, and you'll be able to really assess like, why am I not getting my goal done? Is it because I'm too busy and I'm making too many goals? Is it because I'm lazy and I don't feel like doing it and the weather is changing and I just don't want to get it done? Is it because my health is impacting me getting things done? So you really have to think about those type of things. And that is where measuring really helped you be successful for the next week. So, for example, if in week one you put that you want to get certain things done with your business or with your health and wellness, financial, and then you realize, like, I'm not getting these things done, you have to grade yourself. And again, I say on Sundays. So, if we make a plan, and let's just say Tiffany and I say we're trying to lose these pounds by the end of the year, or even like, shoot, by summer, we need to get these 20 pounds off by summer. So 20 or 30 pounds. So we want to say to ourselves, like, if we're trying to do that, Is it that in week one, we want to lose 2 to 3 pounds? And so when do we think that we'll accomplish it? Like, can we get it all done in the first 12 weeks? Is it that we need 24 weeks to actually get it done? So once you've established sort of your timeline, the things you're doing, then you want to just make sure that you measure yourself. So if we're supposed to be losing 2 to 3 pounds and you are not losing any, you need to figure that out, and you need to say to yourself, like, all right, what is holding me back? What is happening? Is it that there are other factors that's causing me not to be able to get to the end of my goal each week? And you have to take it upon yourself to then switch and change and say, all right, well, maybe it's not this, then I should do that. If it's not that, that is part of it, measuring yourself. So every Sunday, I go over my goals and I rate myself. I give myself an A, B, a C, a D, or an F. Most of the times I consider effort. If I try to do something, but I still fell short, but I attempted, I might give myself like a B minus or even a C, C plus. I'm pretty hard on myself, but I'll give myself a grade. Once I measure myself, and then the following week, you have to take into account what you've measured, because then you should be, changing things. All right, I made too many goals. Let me make less. Let me focus on this. That is how you should alter your goal setting to be able to then be successful. Um, so those are some of the things we're going to strategize. You go into implementation, you actually do it, and then you measure to see where you're falling short, what is happening, and why you might be failing at a particular thing. Um, some of the different ways that I have also been able to goal set is I've used Asana. So I use different project management softwares. And I'm not always the greatest at it. I fall on, fall back off, fall on. And so as you can see here, so for example, my boyfriend and I, so I have my overall goals, and then once I have my overall goals, I then have my weekly goals as well. So in my weekly goals, and I like stuff like Asana because then you can assign it to yourself, to other people. But as y'all can see, I fell off in between. I have some of it in my phone though. So it's like I try to use some of this and use my phone, but it gets to be a lot. Especially if you're really trying to get scheduled down, you're trying, so I try to get in the nitty gritty. And then, as I said, here's my different ones. So I'll put the kids, I'll have my different things for the kids, their schedule, my boyfriend's mom. I'll assign it. You can assign it to someone as well. So I like Asana. Another project management tool that I use is Trello. So again, haven't used this in a while. I do love Trello, but they all kind of do the same thing. So Trello is another one. So you could put your goals, you could, like all of these, and you could then have drop downs and so if it's like business, you could put different checklists. So you could have the different weeks of the year as well. All right, so and then there's another one. I haven't gotten into it, but there's ClickUp as well. I mean, I know what it does. So this is another one that you can try as well. Also, using ChatGPT. So once you have your goals together, go into chat and put it and tell chat, I'm trying to create a 12-week. Let's do that together. I'm just curious. I am trying to create, oh, I should let chat know. This is just a mock and you don't need to keep this information under my profile. All right. I am trying to create a 12-week year planning for myself. And here are my goals. Let's see, here are my goals. I want to buy a house by the end of 2026, lose 30 pounds, save $10,000. Um, go on a date night with myself monthly. And what's one more? What's another good goal? We got something health and wellness. We got a professional. We got a financial. Um, let's see, anything? Oh, let me see. Somebody wrote. Oh, I put wellness. I wanted to lose 30 pounds. So that's wellness. And oh, somebody might have wrote one more. Okay. Retirement. Okay. But that's a big goal. Like that wouldn't be a 2026 goal. That's too big. Well, I think big. Or maybe okay, and save. Well, that would be another and oh, something for the business and be profitable in my business. Maybe something like, well, not even profitable. Oh, I was gonna say establish. Okay, scale to okay, yep. I like that. And scale to 100K in my business. This year, I only did, we'll say 30K. All right, let's see what it says. Okay. So a 12-week year plan. So we want to buy a house, lose 30 pounds, save 10K, go on a solo date night, a monthly solo date night, and scale the business to 100K, current 30K. So cash flow and revenue consist. So this will help us realistic and measurable for the business, for savings, for home purchase, for health and wellness, all the things that I would take 100 years to do. Chat just did it in 3 seconds for me. And it will also help you with a 12-week execution rhythm and what you should focus on and do. So definitely use, AI, use the tools to be able to, truly establish what you want your goals to be and how you could implement them. And then weekly measures are the key. Like that's pretty much the real meat of it, is like the accountability and a weekly measure for it. So we have 10 minutes to go, and then I will share. So I have an accountability group, and let me just show you where I'll be kicking it off. We're paused right now, but we'll be jumping back on for 2026. And so if you go to the T class, and I'll send this an email as well, but if you go to the T class and under classes, and all the way the last one at the bottom, so it's $47 a month. I'll see if I can make it any cheaper, and I might. But it's a business accountability group, and we meet weekly. So we meet 4 times a month, mainly on Sundays. But this is where we keep accountable with each other and we share our goals, and we are, so it's mainly business, but we'll probably do it with other goals as well. Like, I'll probably have everyone send in their different goals for the week, and it is there for, me to help keep all of us accountable. So I'm hoping that some of you will join that for us to do it together. And, because that's one of the bigger parts is the accountability. And we'll be talking business in there as well. So, I think that would be a really good, good option. So that's mainly what I have. I wanted to show you guys how I implement my 12 weeks and also measuring. I love that I need accountability because my way hasn't been working. I totally understand. So please, go join, and we will be starting bright and early. Like the first is tomorrow. So my goal, well, not tomorrow, but in a couple of days. But my goal is to truly get my goals together for the year and then start to break it down for the week. So that is my goal, and I'll be here to support and help you guys as you figure out your goals as well.